Magic may be about to change the rules regarding hybrid mana in Commander. And these are a handful of the most interesting cards that would suddenly become available in off-color decks. Yesterday on a weekly MTG stream, Gavin Verhey and Blake Rasmussen talked about a whole bunch of cool stuff regarding Commander in the future. They talked about game changer updates, bracket updates, the possibility of banning some massive cards, and they also talked about the possibility that the Commander format panel was discussing changing the rules on hybrid cards in Commander. Now, the way hybrid cards currently work is that if there is a white symbol and a black symbol and a hybrid mana symbol here, it can only go into a black-white color identity deck, very much the same way that a black or a white mana symbol on a card dictates the inclusion of a black-white card in a black-white deck. The same can be said for these hybrid cards with two colorless or one, I think they're called Tubrid. Also notably, I checked with the Commander format panel, an off-color activation symbol, like a mana symbol in the card, even if it is an off-color hybrid card, invalidates this. So you could not play Deathrite Shaman, for instance, in a mono-black or a mono-green deck. But what if, instead of having to consider the mana symbols and the reminder text on this card, or even in the casting cost of this card, you could play Beseech the Queen in a colorless Eldrazi deck? That's the kind of crazy stuff they are talking about changing here, so let's count down a few of the cards that I went through that I think are some of at least the coolest and most interesting right off the bat. By the way, hit that follow button if you guys like content like this. I'm always talking about what is new and trending in the world of Magic, Commander, Limited, what have you, Secret Lairs, anything going on with Magic. All right, we're just going to kick things off with the one that is most talked about already, and certainly the one that I would be the most excited about, Manamorphose, green-red hybrid, 1 for an instant that adds 2 mana and any combination of colors and draws you a card. Manamorphose is certainly not a game-breaking card, but it's a very powerful card in spell decks and any kind of a storm deck. I would certainly play this in Gears and Starn. It would go in VV decks. I mean, this would go in many decks that are blue that can't play it because of the green. Blue-red decks specifically, but honestly, the green invalidates this from a lot of decks. I think Manamorphose would probably be played a ton if they made this change. Ashiok Dreamrender is really interesting. It's a mono-blue stacks piece if you're playing it in a mono-blue deck that also can exile graveyards. Black has access to graveyard hate. Mono-blue usually doesn't. So this could sit and play as a blue card that could, mill yourself, but then also exile your opponent's graveyards and then prevent your opponents from searching. I think Ashiok could be really powerful in mono-blue. Lurrus, one of the most powerful creatures of all time. Now, interestingly enough, both white and black usually have access to things that Lurrus does, right? A 3/2 that you can cast a permanent with CMC 2 or less from your graveyard each turn. But I do think that being able to play this in black, a white usually kind of gets to cast permanents. I think black being able to cast something out of the graveyard every turn without having to depend on white could be really interesting. I already showed you Beseech the Queen. This card's kind of underpowered, but the fact that you could be playing this in a mono-colored Eldrazi deck as a tutor, as a viable tutor, is certainly significant. And then Ulalek is pretty funny, right? You could play this alongside like an Ulamog or an Emrakul the Promised End in some colorless Eldrazi deck as a 5-drop. Very powerful card. This is a kill on-site commander. Anyway, what do you guys think? Is this a change you want to see in Magic? Let me know below in the comments.